Vice President Dr. Barajagdio engaged the media on several topics of national interest on Monday afternoon. At a planned media conference at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, Dr. Jagdio addressed topics such as the environment, the energy mix and oil and gas industry. On government's energy mix agenda, there are plans to significantly reduce emissions linked to electricity generation.
We will achieve 50% reduction in emissions from that sector, the energy sector, by 2025, and by 2027, 2028, we'll probably go up to about 70% reduction in emissions from the energy sector. In fact, we will be foremost in the world if we achieve those numbers, and we intend to achieve them because we already have the projects either being awarded or under implementation.
The government is also conducting a study to determine the way forward for the provision of stabler electricity.
We have a problem now with the grid, and so we are now doing a study so by next year we can have an overall improvement of the grid. That's the next big thing we're working on a stable, smart grid that because fiber will be on all the electricity lines, that you can sit in a control room and know without having to send a crew out and get a report when there is a power outage any part of this country.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister of Energy from Ghana will be leading a high-level team to Guyana on Monday night to share the African country's knowledge.
We are going to utilize the skills of the people from Ghana to assist us in creating the architecture for the management of the industry. We've had a lot of consultants from northern countries and elsewhere, but it's time we go to a country that has actually had to work at building these institutions from scratch in a relatively short period of time. And they have, I tell you, enormous experience at doing so.
A new training institute will also be built next year to prepare Guyanese for the oil sector.
Early next year, we'll start building out a national training institute that hopefully will train over 1,000 persons per year. We're looking to train now maybe 600 to 700 welders in a short-term certification program. This is not just putting in place the framework, putting in place a mechanism to ensure that the companies comply with their obligation, but also training people to make sure they can access the opportunities.
New oil blocks will also be auctioned to oil companies in the coming year.
We're hoping that latest next year, third quarter, that we will be able to auction the new blocks. That requires us now to aggressively enforce the relinquishment provisions in all of the contracts so that added to the existing pool of areas available, we will have now the relinquished areas which can then form part of the auction that will take place latest third quarter next year.
The Vice President also mentioned that he will leave for Scotland shortly to hold bilateral talks with Norway on its forest pact with Guyana.